Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of my retro journey, and this time around it is the NES. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, I'm Pixel Paul. If you're not already subscribing to the channel, if you could drop me a subscription, that would be great. And for those of you who are returning, thanks for pressing play once again. So this is episode 3 of my retro journey, and this series is a look back through the games consoles that I've had throughout my life. I've done the Game Boy and I've done the Super NES in the first 2 episodes. If you've not seen those two, you can find them in my playlist on my channel. Give them a watch through. You may be sort of expecting, or maybe predicting, where the next console I'm going to go would be, but the next one is a bit of a step backwards, if you like, and like I said before, it is the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES. So yeah, I had a Super Nintendo and a Game Boy, and the NES, I actually sort of got both those two consoles. I kind of got for Christmas through 91 and 92. It might have been 92, 93, I can't remember 100%. But the following Christmas, yeah, I got, actually myself and my little brother got a console each, and he got another console, which I won't mention yet because that'll be episode 4. But I got the NES. Bit of a surprise as well, because I wasn't expecting it, I'd not asked for it, but it was, yeah, it was a great surprise. And yeah, what a great console the NES is. Even though I was sort of quite well attuned with the Super Nintendo at that time, and the graphics that it had, and you know, the games that were coming out for it, the NES was still kind of holding its own at that point, and you know, still quite readily available. The games were still being sold in the shops as well, alongside the Super NES games. But obviously the prices for these were starting to come down as well as the, you know, the prices of the games too. Certainly a lot cheaper than they are these days. So yeah, I got the NES for Christmas, and I actually got the Star Wars bundle. So what I'll do is I'll take you through the games that I've still got for my NES. Most of them, certainly the boxed ones, are the games that I actually got that Christmas as well. Most of them I sort of kept. I've had a few others through the years, and unfortunately some of them I sort of sold on from my original collection. But yeah, I still have a fair few of them. Not tons, not loads, but 1 or 2 good ones, and I'll show you those. So yeah, first place to start would be the game that I first got with this console. I don't have the original box anymore, sadly. It probably would have been quite well, I don't know the value of boxed NESs at the moment. Probably not as much as you'd think, actually, but maybe with it being a Star Wars edition, I'm not sure, it may have held a little bit more value. So because it was a game that was bundled with the console, I don't have the box for it. I've only got the cartridge, and there it is, Star Wars. I do have the instruction booklet in still very good condition. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, this Star Wars game, because you know, it obviously wasn't the first ever Star Wars video game, but it sort of came out at a time when I would say sort of Star Wars was maybe not necessarily being forgotten about, but it wasn't quite as mainstream as it is these days. You know, we're talking, I think it was 1991 when this came out. So obviously there was, you know, that was well before the Star Wars prequels were released. It was, you know, it was, well, even before the original trilogy had been remastered. Even I think that was 95. So yeah, when this came out as a game for the Nintendo, it was a bit of a rarity in a way. There'd not been huge amounts of sort of Star Wars games. Obviously there was the Star Wars arcade game, but yeah, this was a bit of a big deal without being a big deal. It's a bit weird to say in a way. But it's a good game, very good game. Reviewed really well when it came out. What I will say is it's incredibly hard. Even, you know, the Super Star Wars games that came out on the SNES, they were difficult, but this one is a really difficult game. The controls are a little bit kind of, especially the jumping mechanic is quite floaty. It's kind of difficult to explain, but yeah, it's not the easiest games. There's a lot of precise jumping in it. There's a lot of leaps of faith. yeah, it's not the easiest game ever, but it is good. Some cracking sort of sounds in it and music as well, and graphically it's you know, it's a really decent game. So I thought we'll have a quick look at this one. So I'll show you some footage of Star Wars. That was Star Wars on the NES. So yeah, I know what the purists out there will be saying. You're playing it on a modern flat screen TV. Yeah, I hold my hands up. I don't have a CRT TV anymore. So any footage that I show you from these games will be being played on a modern TV. I know it's not the best way to play these games, but that's all I've got. So yeah, apologies for that. So yeah, what I'll do is next, actually what I will show you first are just a couple of NES, possibly rarities, I don't know, but yeah, I've got these as well, which I thought I'd show you quickly. So these are NES controllers. They're not official controllers, but they were kind of licensed by Nintendo, I think, to a degree. They're made by Bishu, and they're called zippers, and they are kind of like unofficial NES controllers. I've got green and I've got a yellow one as well. And they're quite good pads actually, you know, for sort of third-party pads or whatever you want to call them. They're actually not far off the official controllers, and they're quite easy to use, and in some ways they're actually a little bit more comfy because they've got the curved edges. They used to have, you'll notice that there's a little hole in the D-pad, a thumbstick that you could attach to them and use them with a thumbstick, sort of early analog control with a D-pad. Unusual, but yeah, good. And they also have rapid fire sort of trigger buttons there as well, which are different from the normal controllers. So yeah, just thought I'd throw these in as well and show you them. Yellow and green. I think there is a pink one as well. If you want the full set, I think there is a pink version of this too. Originally I tried to sell these back when I was selling my other collection, but I'm glad no one actually picked them up because I'm quite happy to still have them now. So yeah, Bishu zipper pads. There you go. So anyway, on to the games. So I've got, as usual, I've got a few box games and I've got a few unboxed games. I'll take you through the box games first. They're all fully boxed, complete instructions with them all, and they're actually in really decent condition as well. So yeah, let's have a look through them. So first up, I've got Alien 3. If you've seen any of my earlier videos, you'll know how much of a fan of the Alien and Aliens films I am. I even did a bit of a video dedicated to the games that I've got based on the series. So I won't talk too much about this one, but it's a good game. It's not quite as good as the SNES version. It's quite sort of similar to the Mega Drive version in a way. But yeah, good condition, Alien 3. Next up is Solstice. It's a bit of a strange one. It's not my favourite NES game. It's kind of like an isometric platformer RPG type game. Had a sequel called Equinox on the Super Nintendo as well. But yeah, it's alright. It's not. I've never really. I don't think I've ever finished this actually. I don't think I've played it to the end. But yeah, again, great condition. Solstice. Next up, we've got. I do like this one. This is one of my favourite ones. Blue Shadow. This did go by another name in other countries, and I can't off the top of my head remember what the name was. Something Ninja, I think. It's not part of the Ninja Gaiden series, I don't think, but it did have a different name. I honestly can't remember. I'll probably look it up and add it to along here in a minute. But yeah, Blue Shadow. It's a platform game. It's got some interesting sort of gameplay dynamics to it as well. As like at the bits there, you can sort of just see with platforms that turn around, and it's the usual sort of platforming type game. Some really big bosses as well in it. I mean, how a ninja's supposed to take out a tank? Don't know, but no, it was good. Good game, that one, from Taito. And then next up, we've got Marble Madness. I think everybody knows Marble Madness, either from arcade days or the other ports and versions of Marble Madness. Quite a few versions of this knocking around. But yeah, good game, Marble Madness. We'll take a slight detour and show you a couple of... Actually, well, I'll show you that first. So, a couple of NES Zapper games, of which I've still got my Zapper. I'm just going to try and get rid of the wires around it, but there you go. The NES Zapper, still in good condition. Can't use it on this telly, unfortunately, because they don't work with modern TVs. But yeah, what a great little peripheral that was, the NES Zapper. And I have got a few Zapper games as well. So the first one, not your sort of normal kind of light gun game, this one. It's called Gumshoe. I love these original sort of early NES boxes with black borders and the 8-bit kind of pictures. But yeah, Gumshoe. This one's actually a platform game, and you shoot the main character to make him jump over obstacles. So it's quite clever in a way, but it's quite tricky. But different from your normal kind of light gun game. So that's Gumshoe. And then another light gun game, To the Earth, and that's a little bit more of a traditional kind of light gun game, in that you're basically sort of shooting and zapping ships and asteroids and other things in space. But yeah, it's alright, it's good fun. Yeah, To the Earth. Right, back to the more sort of usual games now. Next up we've got Faxanadu. And this is quite a good game actually. It's an RPG, side-scrolling platformer RPG. A little bit similar to Zelda 2 in a way. But yeah, good game that one. Faxanadu. And then another movie license, movie tie-in. Batman. This is a good game as well. Based on the 1989 movie. See there? Yeah, good game, platformer game. Again, quite tough. A lot of the NES games were quite tough, really. But you know, they should be, I suppose, if you want a challenge and you want to get your money's worth. But yeah, Batman on the NES, good one, that one. And then next up is a bit of a controversial, this one, because it's based, well, it's from the Metal Gear series, but it's kind of not considered to be canon to that series. What people don't like this game, even though it is you know, it's metal. It is a Metal Gear game, but it's not a Metal Gear game, but it plays like a Metal Gear game. So, but yeah, it's Snake's Revenge from Konami. Yeah, it's pretty much everything you'd expect from a Metal Gear game, but yeah, it has a bad reputation, bad rep. Partly because it wasn't. I don't think it was made by the same sort of studio that originally made Metal Gear, and I don't think Kojima was involved with it or anything like that. I could be wrong. I could be way out with that, but if I am, let me know in the comments. I'm sure you will do. But yeah, I quite like Snake's Revenge. So yeah, good one. And then last up of my boxed games, not one you see around all that often. It's not a big hitter or anything like that, but I really like this game. It's a kind of 3D-esque shooter, almost like, again, isometric sort of style shoot 'em up, and it is Isolated Warrior. Decent graphics on that, great sound, controls are really good actually. But yeah, I really like Isolated Warrior, enough so to show you a little bit of footage of it. So that was Isolated Warrior. And okay, we're going to move on to my unboxed NES games now. I've only got a few of these. Most of these were actually picked up from, I can't remember what year it was, but it was picked up from Game Station in Manchester Arndale. We're talking over 10-15 years ago. And I remember them having a bargain bin, and it was full of unboxed cartridges and Dreamcast games. So that's where I got a lot of these from, at really cheap prices. We're talking like £1 or 50p each for these. So that's where I got most of these from. Grabbed loads of them. Grabbed loads of Dreamcast games as well, which I sadly don't have anymore, but that's a story for another day possibly. But yeah, I'll take you through these ones. So I've got Punch Out. Good condition though, actually, you know, for a cartridge only. So I've looked after these over the years. But yeah, Punch Out, good game, that one, I love that. And they all work as well, of course. I've tested them before I did this video. Another Zapper game, another light gun game, Duck Hunt. You've got to have Duck Hunt if you've got an NES, really, haven't you? Duck Hunt. And next up, it's got a sleeve on this one. It's Captain Skyhawk. That's quite an unusual, good game. It's a decent game actually. It's a top-down shooter, but the sort of ship that you pilot can kind of go up 3 levels, so it can go sort of like down and up and through the middle. I don't know. So a bit unusual, not your normal sort of top-down shooter, but yeah, it's a good one. That one, quite difficult. Captain Skyhawk. Next up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Great game, this one, up until you get to those underwater levels. The less said about those levels, the better, really. But yeah, decent game, Ninja Turtles. And we've got RoboCop. Love the fact that I've still got this game. Again, not the best game ever, but it is fun to go back and play. Just because I love the film as well. I love RoboCop, and it sort of includes that iconic music through each of the levels. So yeah, RoboCop, really love that. And you know what? For years, I actually thought RoboCop was red based on the poster for it. I thought he was red. Who knew? Up until I saw the film, obviously, when I was 18. Okay, next up. Now, this one isn't in the best condition, sadly, and it probably is the best game in this collection, but it is cartridge only, and it is slightly damaged, but it does play. It doesn't save anymore, but it does play. And it's Super Mario Bros. 3 with that tear-inducing tear across the front. If only they'd had another copy, I could have had that instead. But hey ho. But yeah, it does play. Super Mario Bros. 3, absolute classic. Arguably one of the best 2D Mario Bros. Games ever made. I think it's probably the best 2D Mario Bros. Game ever made. Although Mario Wonder is getting a run for its money, because that is a fabulous game. But yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3, good game. And then the last loose cartridge game. Again, this one's not in the best of condition. The casing's fine and everything, but it's just the colour, the gold colour, which might give you a clue as to what it is. It has started to fade a little bit, and it is The Legend of Zelda. So you can see that the colour on the cartridge is just a little bit faded in places, a little bit rough and ready, this cartridge, but it does work. It's a really good game again, and the start of such an amazing franchise, such a brilliant series. And let's have a quick look at The Legend of Zelda. That was The Legend of Zelda. So, last game now, and it's a boxed game, and if you've seen the other videos in this series, I always save my favourite game from that console till last, and I've done the same here. So again, this is a game that I got with the NES when I got it for Christmas. It's one of my original games, or I've just given it away. But yeah, it's one of my favourite games on the NES, and it is Double Dragon. and again, really good condition. This great box artwork as well, and it's just such an iconic game, isn't it? Double Dragon. I recently got the Double Dragon. I can't remember the name of it, but the recently released one. We've got the PlayStation 5 version. I've only just started playing that, but yeah, it really brought back a bit of a nostalgia hit. So I played that a little bit, and then I was back on this version not that long ago. So yeah, I love Double Dragon. Really great game. I love sort of the side-scrolling beat-em-ups as well, as we used to call them. I know people these days call these types of games beat-em-ups, and the one-on-one fights they're called fighting games. For me, it's beat-em-ups and scrolling beat-em-ups. That's the way I've always thought of them. So yeah, scrolling beat-em-up, Double Dragon. Went on for Double Dragon 1, 2 and 3, then Battletoads and Double Dragon as well. They were all on the NES too. So yeah, great series. Let's have a quick look at Double Dragon. So that is my NES collection, or what is left of it. I'm ashamed to say, because I've had quite a few NES games over the years, but I did have to sort of sell a couple of really big hitters actually. I used to have Probotector 2, and I had Castlevania 3 as well. And I sold it for decent money about 10 years ago. I did sell all three of those. I had Battletoads versus Double Dragon 2. But at the time, we just, it became a bit of a necessity to sell those and get that money for them. Bit of regret doing that now, because obviously some of those games, Castlevania especially, is worth a huge amount of money. So I'll never be able to buy that again. But hey ho, I think they are on the Switch Online service at the moment. So hey ho. But yeah, they're the NES games that I've got at the moment. If there is there any that I would like to sort of pick up in the future, it's hard to say because they're just so expensive to get these days. I wouldn't mind getting Double Dragon 2 possibly, and I have seen that out and about actually. So so that's maybe one for the future. I quite like the sort of Gradius games as well, and I know there's one called Salamander. I can't remember I think it's the two words in the name. But yeah, that's one that I've sort of seen before, and I know that's part of that series. So possibly I wouldn't mind playing that one. Another one's Bure Fighter, because I do like the Game Boy version of Bure Fighter, so I wouldn't mind sort of maybe trying to pick that up on the NES one day. But yeah, we'll see what happens, see if we can find those one day. So yeah, thanks for watching once again. If you've enjoyed the video, if you can drop a like, that would be fantastic. And like I said before, if you're not already subscribing to the channel, if you could drop me a subscription. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm pixelpaul_PXP. Drop me a follow on there as well. So thanks for joining me once again. And I will see you for episode 4. See you later, everyone.